Hi, I'm Jamie, and I'm here with Torsten. We play in a band called God Is An Astronaut, and today we're going to be on D Metal Galaxy on the YouTube channel talking about the release of our new record, The Beginning of the End. Don't forget to subscribe to the D Metal Galaxy YouTube channel, and we'll see you there at the event.
In this interview, we are staying in our home country, Ireland, and we'll talk about God Is An Astronaut 20-year anniversary release, The Beginning of the End, to discover how music production has evolved the past 20 years and how the live sound created a new layer of depth. To get a full picture, we have here with us the man behind God Is An Astronaut. So welcome, guys, and Torsten and Jamie, can you please introduce yourself and the band?
Yeah, I'm Torsten. I play guitars in God Is An Astronaut.
I'm Jamie, and I play the keyboard and the guitar in God Is An Astronaut.
Great one. And the band God Is An Astronaut, what is it for first-time listeners?
We play instrumental, predominantly instrumental music, kind of rock instrumentation with, fused with electronic sounds. And I guess it's a mixture of anything from progressive rock to punk to electronica to post-rock to even, heavy rock. It's all kind of a mix of unusual stuff, and it's kind of definitely not for the mainstream audience. It's quite an eclectic, aimed at a niche audience. That's what I think.
Yeah, great one. And I certainly agree. When I was listening to this, I was like, it's so different. It doesn't put itself in a box. And I think that's also the charm of God Is An Astronaut. As it is not mainstream, you get like a unique experience, listening experience you don't get otherwise. So thank you. And after 20 years, there has been a decision reached that production has evolved sufficiently enough to re-release The Beginning of the End right now. Thus, I wonder why 2022 July is a perfect day for this re-release.
It's a 20-year anniversary, and we released The End of the Beginning in 2002. It was important for us to not replace the original record. We wanted to celebrate it, and the best way to do that was to do a live version of that record, which over the years, the songs have taken their own course. And, we obviously, when we wrote that record in 2002, it was more of a studio project, an electronic kind of setup just between myself and Niels. And over the years, God Is An Astronaut has become a live band, and we've interpreted those songs accordingly to play them live. And, over the years, we've changed our sound, numerous times, and we wanted to see how it would sound with our current sound playing older material. And I was always a firm believer, if the music is good, there should be no problem of reinterpreting those songs. And I want to make it clear, it's not there to replace the original record. It's literally just a celebration of the first record. It has its own merits, and I think the original record has its own merits as well. So they're both different experiences, but it's there to celebrate the fact that we're still here 20 years later.
Amazing. And when I was listening to the old and new one, I would say they are both differently. Like, it shows as well how much you evolved in 20 years, like your story back then, and then a new story now in 2022, telling a bit in a different angle. And what feelings did you get in revisiting this masterpiece?
It definitely took me back in time when we were starting. It was a time full of uncertainty. We were essentially that was our goodbye record essentially in the beginning, because we've been trying so long in the 90s and to try and, get record deals. And we decided maybe just to finish on something that we felt represented the kind of music that we liked, rather than trying to make a record that we thought would get a record deal. And with the rise of the internet, it was a perfect opportunity for us to be able to put something out and not need a record company to push it around the globe. And it took a life on its own, and it resonated with people, and it's the reason that I guess we're still here. And we haven't looked back, and we feel very, very fortunate to still be playing music. And for us, it's really important to be able to still revisit the old material, because they are a part of who we are, a part of what has brought us to where we are. And we always continue to embrace the back catalogue, but more importantly, we still want to move forward and try new things. And I love the idea of kind of working and changing our sounds, but still see if we can pull the old material with it. And so we've learned not just the end of the beginning, but we've learned actually nearly every single album that we've ever done. So that's nearly 70 songs, all rehearsed and all works with the new flavor that we're currently pushing.
So basically it was a goodbye, and now it's an anniversary.
Yes.
The end of the beginning, now if I hear your story, the end of the beginning is why it's called like this album, something that you might stop with the band, or was there a different reason for the title?
No, again, it was, a post-apocalyptic influenced album. So, on a few different levels that the title suited. We thought this was the end of our music career, and I didn't know what the next phase of our lives were. Our music has always kind of captured what we're feeling, what we're going through in life, and it felt like this is kind of the end of the music chapter. So what's next for us in life? And it wasn't too promising what was in front of us. But yeah, so that was kind of essentially the what we kind of call it the end of the beginning. But it was again an anti-war album, a post-apocalyptic record in general, and it's just kind of eerie revisiting that album with all the current things that are going on in the world. It's again, we planned probably, I think about late last year, we had planned to do this. We even had the concept of the cover and everything, and to see, life imitating art, it was kind of scary, to be honest. And it felt, had I known something like that was going to happen, I probably wouldn't have been as eager to put out a release. It's kind of capturing exactly what's happening at the moment.
Great story. So in the end, like we have the album out, the beginning of the end, but like you are a band who is really sophisticated and goes for perfection in the music. So I wonder, what things would you like to have more perfectly in this album?
I don't really believe in perfection overall. Because, especially not for this particular record, because the idea was to capture some of its imperfections. I think it's one of those things, if you approach a record where you're trying to get every single part right, it won't sound live. It'll sound like a studio record. And that was something I didn't want. So we left some of the smaller mistakes in, because it was more natural, rather than trying to fix every snare hit or, make sure I got, Niels got every bass run right, or Jamie might have left a note here or there. But I think it adds to the flavor of that record. And at the moment, I kind of like the idea. I think what happens is there's a trade-off. If you get every single thing right, you lose some of the magic that created it in the first place. So at the moment, I think we definitely for this record, we embrace the kind of the imperfections, and it felt like it was an honest, version of those songs on that particular day. So yeah, I don't regret that. I think had we gone the other way and tried to perfect every single thing, tried to get the vocals more in tune and here and there, I think it would just sound like a normal album that was trying to replace the original album. And that was the worst thing that could have happened. Had that sounded like, oh, this is basically the end of the beginning done correctly. It was never supposed to be that. So yeah, no, I wouldn't change a thing on it.
And you, Jamie, you share the same opinion?
Yeah, I think there is kind of a beauty in the imperfection of not just this record, but in music in general, as Torsten mentioned, there's a rawness and there's a realness to it that we try to bring to the live shows as well. It's not just an excuse to make mistakes.
Nice one. Like for me, the album is really perfect, but it might be I come from a thrash background, heavy metal, where you have very raw production. So when I heard God Is An Astronaut, I was like, I'm not a musician, so it's like everything is like combined together. Like the instruments are fitting well, but now I'm going to look at the mistakes, knowing this.
Well, you know, it's not just about the clinical sort of presentation of music as well. When people go to a live show, you know, at least our attitude is people want to be kind of surrounded in a wall of sound and almost become immersed in the experience. So that's something that Torsten put a lot of thought into it as well as Niels. We all have sort of collectively come together to make sure that when people show up to our live gigs, they walk away from it thinking, wow, you know, I came to a God Is An Astronaut show and I thought I was going to get something kind of ambient and scapey, but instead I was overwhelmed with this audio assault almost, you know. So that's been crafted specifically with that in mind.
And we wanted to kind of capture that with the Ghost Tapes album as well, because at the time with COVID, I mean, there was no gigs, there was nothing. And it was Niels' kind of idea initially to say, what about if we try to create as live a record as we can from our studio here and just try to keep it as honest as possible and capture the live rawness, the live sound. And I think we got it better as time went on with the beginning of the end. But again, you know, Ghost Tapes, really happy with it. And I think it's a kind of a model for us to kind of follow for a while. It's definitely on the next record as well. I want to kind of capture the personality of each musician in the band. When you kind of overdub it or you start quantizing drums and that kind of stuff, the magic that, for example, that Lloyd brings is his own unique grooves, his own unique way of playing things. And it's really the same for all of us. In the past, I might have, say, done a guitar line, or Jamie might have done 2 guitar lines. But now we said, look, if you're going to play this guitar line live, you play it and I'll play this one. So we definitely are building it more to be a band experience at this point. And I'm currently really excited about approaching music that way. And we might, you know, when we write, I might even play the bass, or Jamie might play the bass, but it's all reinterpreted later by the respective musicians, you know, to put their own character into it.
I'm really excited to hear the next one album where the personality will be like showcased within the music. It's a very exciting concept, I would say. But back to the beginning of the end, I agree, like what you said, like it's a very emotional music, like you feel really the atmosphere like you are in a live concert when I heard the new album. And I think it's great. And I would say after this conversation that God Is An Astronaut, it's very organic, I think very atmospheric in some way.
Yeah, that was important to us. I mean, there was 2 kind of things that we had to think about going in. One was obviously capturing that live personality that each one of us brings to the table, but to also kind of do the original writing and what the song musically was about. You know, every song essentially captures an emotion that we had back in 2002, and to be able to go back and give those feelings justice. So sometimes when you play a concert, you could be deep in concentration and you're just thinking about playing your parts right rather than thinking of the meaning of the song. So we knew, and Jamie was even talking about this, you know, up until us, said we're going to have to really, really learn this off so it becomes more like a reflex action when we get to play in the studio. So we're not thinking about playing our parts, but we're thinking about the meaning of the song and try to get those emotions across. I mean, it's very easy for me just to say, I'll just sing as best as I can or do those kind of backing vocals, but not try to reminisce really what it was all about to begin with. And it was very nostalgic for me. It was really kind of, it was almost as if we, at a moment, like everything that we had done never happened and all we had was this album again, and we really just got so deep back invested into that first album. And it's without that album we wouldn't be here. And really, really proud of the fact that we're still here and that people still want to listen to it. And I'm extra proud to be able to still embrace the music that we released 20 years ago, rather than, I see a lot of groups kind of hiding it or throwing it under the mat and say, well, we didn't really do this and we'll just discontinue it or whatever. we love all the music that we release. It's a part of who we are as people, and we'll always continue to update our music from the past and continue to play it live along with our new material, which is obviously where we'll be focusing most of our attentions to at this point. But we'll always play the material and bring it with us.
Awesome. I love the band. I just discovered them. I think I discovered God Is An Astronaut 2 months ago, something, and I was like, why didn't I hear this? It's amazing. It's something I haven't live experience you hear in this album. It's really deep. It's a very how do you say, I made a very deep connection with this album. It has something that other music doesn't have.
Thank you.
Thanks. Well, it's worth mentioning, considering we're broadcasting from Dublin, that we do have a show on the 22nd of October in the Opium in Dublin. So you're more than welcome to come along.
And that was my question. I was going to mention it, but as we are on the topic, let's dive into Opium. So I'm wondering, with your show coming up, what can we expect, and how do you think that the venue will bring the music to a higher level?
Well, Opium is a special venue for us because